This is me 1 month ago while working as a well-paid software engineer at a prestigious company. My life looked perfect on the surface. I had a stable income, I could pay my bills, afford a nice apartment, and even enjoy the occasional luxury. But I did something that might seem insane. I quit my job. Yes, I left behind financial stability, a promising career, and a secure paycheck. And I don't regret it for a second. I know what you're thinking. Why would anyone throw away a good job in an economy like this? The answer is simple. I learned things about money that changed everything for me. Once I saw the truth, I couldn't unsee it. And now, I want to share these insights with you, because if you truly understand them, you might just find yourself making the same decision. Let's start with the biggest illusion we've all been sold, the belief that a high salary equals financial security. That's exactly what I thought for years. Every paycheck I received made me feel safe, like I was building a future. But what I didn't realize was that I was stuck in a cycle. My salary wasn't giving me freedom. It was chaining me to a routine that I had no control over. I was spending 40, 50, sometimes 60 hours a week working for someone else, exchanging my time for money. But here's the problem. Time is the most valuable resource we have, and I was selling mine at a discount. Most people never stop to ask, what happens if the salary stops? If the company decides they don't need me anymore? If an economic downturn leads to layoffs? We saw it happen during the pandemic. Thousands of people who had given years of their lives to a company were suddenly left with nothing. That's when I realized a job isn't security. It's a paycheck that keeps coming until it doesn't. Real security comes from owning your income streams, not renting them from an employer. The second lesson I learned was that making more money doesn't necessarily make you richer. It just makes you more comfortable in the trap. When I was earning less, I thought making 6 figures would solve all my problems. But when I got there, something interesting happened. My lifestyle expanded to match my income. I upgraded my car, moved into a better apartment, started dining at expensive restaurants. The more I earned, the more I spent. It's called lifestyle inflation. And it's why so many high earners are still living paycheck to paycheck. Think about it. How many doctors, lawyers, and engineers do you know who earn 6 figures but still feel like they can't afford to quit their jobs? That's because they've locked themselves into golden handcuffs, nice houses, luxury cars, private schools for their kids. The more they earn, the more they spend. And the more they spend, the more they need to keep earning. It's a trap that looks like success from the outside, but in reality, it's just another version of financial dependence. So I asked myself, what if I used my money differently? What if, instead of buying status symbols, I bought freedom? That led me to the next breakthrough, the power of investing and multiple income streams. I realized that if I ever wanted true independence, I needed to stop relying on a single paycheck and start building income sources that didn't require my constant effort. I started small. I set aside a portion of my salary to invest in assets that generated passive income, stocks, index funds, real estate. Instead of using my money to buy things, I used it to buy freedom. And over time, something amazing happened. My investments started making money for me, even when I wasn't working. My first rental property covered part of my expenses. My stock dividends started paying my bills. And slowly but surely, I realized I was getting closer to financial independence. That's when it hit me. If I could build enough passive income to cover my living expenses, I wouldn't need a job at all. I could wake up every morning and do whatever I wanted, not because I was rich, but because I had built a system that paid me even when I wasn't working. That's when I made the decision. I set a goal. Once my passive income reached a certain threshold, I would quit my job, and I did. Now, let me be clear. I'm not saying everyone should quit their jobs immediately. That would be reckless. But I am saying that if you ever want true financial freedom, you need to start thinking beyond a paycheck. You need to start building assets that work for you, instead of just working for money. And here's how you can do it. Step 1. Track your spending. You can't escape the paycheck-to-paycheck cycle if you don't know where your money is going. I started by writing down every dollar I spent, and what I found shocked me. I was wasting thousands a year on things I didn't even value. Subscriptions I forgot about, impulse purchases, overpriced meals. The moment I became intentional with my spending, I freed up money that I could redirect toward investments. Step 2. Save aggressively and invest wisely. Too many people think saving means cutting out small luxuries like coffee or eating out. But real savings come from making smarter financial decisions, like living in a more affordable home, driving a car you can actually afford, and questioning every major expense. I funneled as much of my income as I could into assets, index funds, rental properties, and businesses that could generate cash flow. My goal wasn't to get rich overnight. It was to build a foundation that would let me escape the trap. Step 3. Start a side hustle. Relying on one income source is dangerous. Even if you love your job, you should always have a backup plan. I started small, freelancing, consulting, testing different online businesses. Some failed, but others worked, and over time, I built a side income that made me less dependent on my employer. Step 4. Learn financial literacy. I can't stress this enough. The reason most people stay stuck in the 9-to-5 grind isn't because they're not smart. It's because they were never taught how money actually works. Schools don't teach it. Employers don't want you to know it. But if you take the time to learn about investing, tax strategies, and business, you'll start seeing opportunities that most people miss. Step 5. Set a freedom number. This was a game changer for me. Instead of focusing on a vague goal like becoming rich, I calculated exactly how much passive income I needed to cover my basic expenses. Once I hit that number, I knew I could walk away from my job without worrying about money. It took time, but once I reached it, I handed in my resignation letter and never looked back. Quitting my job wasn't about escaping work, it was about escaping dependency. I still work, but now I do it on my own terms. I choose projects that excite me, I wake up without an alarm, and I never have to ask for permission to take a vacation. That's what financial freedom looks like. So if you're feeling trapped in your job, if you're tired of trading your time for money, I want you to know that there's another way. It won't happen overnight, and it won't be easy. But if you start today, tracking your expenses, saving, investing, and building alternative income streams, you'll be amazed at how much control you can take back. And one day, you might just find yourself handing in your resignation letter, not out of desperation, but out of freedom. The choice is yours. Start now. See you soon.